So for problem set heavy courses, these tend to be your math and your science classes. When you go into lecture, prioritize learning the hows and the whys rather than the whats, because it's really easy to get in this mindset that every single thing the professor says is important and I need to be able to write it down and keep track of it all. But that just creates an unfair pressure on us. And we wind up not being super efficient because the whole time we're just frantically taking notes down rather than really listening and engaging with, okay, what is the big picture here? What's the point? So if you can focus more on the underlying concepts, the stuff that'll ultimately be harder to follow, you're taking advantage of that time with a lecturer whose job it is to teach this. Whereas, you can go back and review your textbook and check the little details and underline those as necessary later. Skimming over notes within 24 hours has been shown to really, really improve overall retention. Just from an evolutionary standpoint, right? How does our brain decide what's important? It does so based on spaced repetition and what comes up multiple times, right? Because that's ultimately how we shape our brains, how we make these neuronal connections and transition from short to work into long-term memory. So just skimming, taking the 2 minutes within a day after a lecture and just going over and getting a feel for, okay, yeah, this is generally what was covered yesterday. That will pay dividends later when you have to go back and prepare for exams. Trying problem sets without resources first as a first pass is really important in giving us an idea on where are we with this material. A lot of the times we will start an assignment with the slides open the whole time. We're not really learning, right? We're not actually getting an idea of what our mastery is at this point. How competent are we? And we really won't know in that situation until we go to take the exam and all of a sudden we have to do these things without resources. And we're frantically trying to cram before the exam. So be objective and honest with yourself. And just as a first pass, see how much did I retain? How much do I know without referring to slides first? Use TAs and office hours as great resources to fill in the gaps. If I look back at my notes and I'm like, I have literally no idea what happened here, that's a perfect opportunity to take note of that and say, okay, well, next Tuesday when office hours comes around, I have something that I should be bringing to the table and I want to get clarity on when I engage with the TA. And finally, group work when possible. If you're in a course where you're allowed to do problem sets as a group, look through them on your own first to, again, get that diagnostic on where am I with the material. But if you can establish a time at some point in the week with your friends to go over the answers and to sort of engage and have these discussions about, okay, what did you think of this? Or why is this answer not correct? That's going to pay dividends in helping you stay engaged, but ultimately forces you to teach, right? And put things into your own words. And that's really going to help you integrate material into something that you can call on later when you do have to take an exam or write a paper.